Alright everyone, this is the 1999 Honda Accord, the LX. This is the 4-cylinder, 5-speed manual, and it has 224,000 miles, 225,000 miles. I just want to show you down the side here, just give you a view of the paint from the outside, and we're just trying to match the panels of this car. When you're looking at the paint, you want everything to be looking consistent, so by that I mean that everything reflects the same, looks the same paint wise. Right off the bat with this car, if you can't notice already, the paint on here is a little different than the paint on here. And obviously you have metal panels here compared to your plastic panel here, so it obviously dries a little different when the paint's done from the factory, but this is a little offset from what it should be. And I wouldn't doubt if this car has had the front bumper repainted or replaced at some point, just because the difference in the paint here. So according to my different other videos that I've made, I would say that that this looks like it may have had a front end accident there, just a fender bender or something. But we'll catch the reflection from here. Go down the side panels. See that we're getting all the same reflection. Then all of a sudden right here at the end, this panel here, everything looked the same here from the other panels to here, but this panel's a little dull. Just want to see looking back down the side, you see the dullness in the panel here compared to the other panels. See that? That's what I'm looking for when I'm looking to buy a car. But I also want to compare this panel here to the panel on the trunk. It's kind of hard to see, but the trunk is actually pretty darn faded. And you see that by looking at the top. We got the panel back here a little faded. Let's check the other side just to see what's going on here. This panel's the same looking. Got a little bit of a dent there. Doesn't look as bad, but I wonder if this trunk and that side panel over here were actually hit and replaced and painted at some point, just because the difference in the paint from the other panels. The bumper doesn't look too bad, except for a few scratches and nicks from little wear and tear. It's got a better paint reflection down here. It could also be just the sun beating down on it, but honestly it doesn't look consistent with the other panels here, so I'm not sure about that. We'll just follow it down this side of the paint. See some dent up here. And we can see just looking at it here in the front. Got to really look at these things as you're going over a car to buy it. This stuff right here on the panel looks like just pretty bad sun damage to the paint. It is chipping though, that makes me think that it has been repainted at some point, because you can see the chipping in the paint as well as the oxidation as compared to the hood here. The hood has normal wear and tear, it's just got a bunch of paint marks, those sorts of things. If we look here at the front, the headlights, let's look at both headlights. Let me get out of light here. So you can tell that this headlight right there is a little bit darker than the one that's over here on this side. I think this car has had a front end accident at some point, but we'll look at the rest of it as we go through it here, and I'll get ready to show you the insides of the vehicle now. So now we got the inside here. Gonna go ahead and take a look at the inside. Got your power windows here. Got your mirror controls. Cloth seats. It does have the controls on the side here to move it forward, move it backwards, as well as control the backrest. You can see through the sunlight here, the steering wheel is a little worn down there, just with wear and mileage. Just looking at the condition of all the interior here, see what it looks like. If it's consistent with the exterior, you know, those sorts of things can mean a lot of things when you're looking at a car. Just looking in the back. Got your lights. The lights work here in the back. That's good. The door lights. Condition of the seats as you're going through it. Does not have the cover here to put anything for the driver's seat, but it does for the passenger seat over there. Just looking at the speakers here in the back, make sure they're not all torn up or worn out looking. Beat up from the sun, any of that sort of stuff. See the, I don't know if you can tell from the inside here, but it actually has a little bit of a bubbling on the windshield on the back, just meaning it's had heat damage onto the tint itself. Got the other side here. Again, the condition, just looking around at everything. We got a missing light, as well as the light cover down there for the door. As I mentioned, the seat thing here to put stuff. Cloth seats. Then we'll come to the passenger side of the car. Look at the interior here. Everything looks in place, looks decent. Door light works. However, it is missing a plastic piece down here for the door. It does have the seat that you can move here front and backwards, as well as the pull lever down there for moving it forward and backwards. Everything looks consistent here, especially looking up here. We got a little damage here to this, as well as the air conditioning vent. Nothing big. Just got your glove box here. But everything looks pretty consistent here. Looking at that, looks pretty consistent with the exterior. So we'll check out the motor next. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look on the motor here. Just looking for the condition of the motor on the inside, make sure that if anything looks new or replaced, if anything looks out of place, like it shouldn't be there. As we're looking here, just look down here at the radiator. Got the Denza radiator. It looks pretty new. I bet this thing's been replaced recently. You can tell the condition and the look of the metal as well as the plastic on top. Then we got our AC condenser here in the front. Just look at that, make sure it's not all blown out by bugs and rocks and everything else. Might go with that, because those can be expensive to replace. We also have our horns here in the front. Got two of them right there. These are the horns for the car. These things are not too much to worry about. Then, just looking down here, it's easier to see the car when it's cleaner than it is dirty. Got your dipstick here. Got your alternator here. Got a sensor for the exhaust there, right there. Just looking at the spark plugs and spark plug wires. Looking at the oil cap here. A lot of times you can tell a lot about a car and the condition of it just by opening this oil container. And as we look inside, you can see that's pretty clean. So it's probably had routine oil changes, things like that, pretty decently maintained. It is the VTEC motor, as you can see. Just following the spark plug wires, pardon me, to the plugs here. Just following it, looking at the air box. I would open this up. You know, obviously if it's dirty, it needs to be replaced. And we got our air hose here. Just looking for any cracks or anything in the plastic. Just looking around for any issues with the any of the hoses or wires at any point. This red wire here is actually made for an amp, so this car has had an amp at some point in it. Somebody put one in because this hooks up to the battery over here. Looking at the battery does say 8 of 2015, so it's pretty recent. Good battery. You always want to check the fluids inside here for the coolant. Make sure they're at least filled up. Checking the hoses again, just making sure they're firm, not hard or cracked. Checking the fans down here. Make sure none of the fans are cracked or any blades missing. Going again through all the hoses here. Everything looks pretty solid. I would say that it consists with the rest of the vehicle on the exterior and the interior, as well as the belts. There's no cracks in the belts at all, meaning they don't need to be replaced. So I think we'll just go ahead and give it a drive. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start it here. Starts good, doesn't seem rough at all. Checking the transmission here, stick shift, put it in a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and you got reverse there. Everything goes into gear fine. The parking brake, take our parking brake off. Looking at all the gauges on the dashboard here, it does have a check engine light on, which is no big issue. I'm not really worried about that right now. You can always have that OBD2'd and have that find out what code that's pulling, see what's going on. But yeah, let's go ahead and give it a drive. Right off the bat, I noticed that the clutch on this is really easy, really light clutch, simple to maneuver. The car is pretty light, you can tell. I think the car is about 3,200 something pounds. It's not a heavy car. It's got a 4-banger in it, 2.4. Shifting the gears goes perfectly. This thing drives pretty awesome. I like the steering on this. Just give it a check. It's seeming pretty nice to me. Second gear here. With these cars, there's a lot of reliability to be considered. You got your gas mileage, you have engine expenses for repairs overall in general, insurance costs, as well as many other expenses, DMV, other things, registration, all that. These cars are really easy to maintain, not many problems at all. Actually, after doing lots of reviews on them, there's really not many problems with these cars that people have. And that's one great thing about Honda, is that they have a lot of reliability, especially the history of it. So that's one huge factor when you're looking to buy a new vehicle. And also when you're shifting the gears, look for the jerking or anything or jolting in the transmission that might jerk you forward. This car, shifting it just literally goes straight into gear. You know, make sure it's not hard to get into gear as it is. When you downshift, car feels great. There's no pull, there's no lag, there's no nothing. Car feels beautiful. I'm guessing that the clutch has been replaced recently on this vehicle. It's been maybe 10,000 miles at least. So feels great, really smooth, really nice driving vehicle. The drive of the car, you feel a lot of the road. It is a small car, so you will tend to get a little bit of that, as with any smaller vehicle, but it really handles the road well. I like the feel of the car, I like the drive of the car, and if you compare this to like a Toyota Camry and all, you do have a, I mean, they're pretty much a similar car in the sense that they're reliable, they're easy to maintain, and they won't give you many problems. But this car specifically is a great car, and if you can find a good one for a good price, it's worth buying it. It totally is, because it will save you money in the long run, and it's definitely an investment. But just driving it, it's awesome. Like, the gears shift perfectly. Just going into gear, no problem. It's like a beautiful car. Just absolutely perfect. I'd be interested in buying this car myself. I mean, besides a few exterior things, a few interior things, if you get a car for the right price, doesn't matter, you know, if it's had a little thing here or there. As long as the car drives good, looks good, and is seemingly looking like it might be reliable to you after checking all these things, the exterior, the interior, the motor, I mean, you got to base your decision on that. So I think that there's a lot to be said about these vehicles, and a lot of people have them for a reason, and they've lasted a very long time because they're good vehicles, and they're easy to maintain, and they're not too expensive. As long as you find one that's a good deal, that runs good, and everything else, I think you could have yourself a really nice investment for the long run and the short term, because these vehicles do hold their value really well, and they're hard to find, especially in the 5-speed manual, because I mean, with this you're getting 25 to 31 miles a gallon. So I think just overall, after checking everything out, I would say that this would be a really good investment overall, and very good car for anybody first time driving, and anybody that wants to save some money, save some gas. It's all good. It's a really nice car. So we'll leave it at that, and let you make your own decision from there. Have a good one.